I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little addicted to tier lists. Why you guys been sleeping on me? I've been on Twitch lately and we've made some interesting tier lists. I've made a presidential tier list, I've made a fast food restaurant tier list, I've made a superhero tier list, I've made a tier list on peanut butter brands and textures. Do not tell me that Skippy Crunchy is not the best peanut butter. Unfortunately, if you want to see my crazy tier list, you gotta follow me on Twitch, links down below in the comment section as well as the description, because in this video we're going to make a tier list with staple Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Now, of course, if you want to see more content like this or even more tier lists, then make sure to destroy that subscribe button as well as post down below in the comment section what other tier lists you would like to see. The staple tier list is going to be a little difficult, seeing that we're going to have to redefine the definition of what a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card is, but it's going to be pretty fun. So let's jump on it. Alright guys, now that we are here at the lair, I think it's only wise that we talk about what exactly is a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card. A staple Yu-Gi-Oh card is a generic Yu-Gi-Oh card that can be played in almost every single competitive deck. Now, staple Yu-Gi-Oh cards can either disrupt the opponent or help further your strategy, and I'm going to be separating them in 6 different categories. The first category is better be caught with it, and if you know, then I guess you know. These are the type of cards that I'd rather be caught in a situation where I have it than to be caught lacking and not have these cards. Now, to clear some things up, the underrated category isn't necessarily better than the really good category, but these cards are underrated. These are typically cards you should be looking at to play inside of your deck. They're not necessarily well known, but they're pretty powerful staple Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually changed pretty good to really good because these cards are really good. These are the staple Yu-Gi-Oh cards that if you are not playing, I mean, it's okay, but if you are playing, well, you're doing something right. And then after really good, there are the situational cards. These cards are pretty good in certain situations, but in other situations, they don't shine, so you gotta be careful when playing them. And then lastly, of course, we gotta put the, oh no, what are you doing, baby? If you happen to be playing these cards, then you might wanna reconsider. The last category is not a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card. Yu-Gi-Oh from back in the days is way different than 2021, and there are some cards on this list that aren't really staples anymore. So with that being said, let's jump on in. Ash Blossom Enjoy a Spring is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card, but to be honest, it's a card that you'd rather be caught with than without. Ash Blossom is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's so generic and it stops just about every single deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Dino, Eldritch, Virtual World, Drytron. It doesn't matter. Ash Blossom Enjoy a Spring has an application to it. Now, of course, we didn't include all of the hand traps on this video because I made a hand trap tier list that you can check out. And now that I think about it, I might need to update that for the next upcoming format. So of course, if you want to see more tier lists, then be sure to destroy that subscribe button, but also post down below in the comment section what other type of tier list you would like to see. Book of Moon is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card. It flips critical monsters face up when your opponent wants to go into that clutch, synchro, link, or Xe summon. Book of Moon just says no. Called by the Grave is underrated. A lot of people don't understand what Called by the Grave does, and it banishes a monster from the graveyard and negates its effects until the next turn. Now, Called by the Grave is amazing in almost every single Yu-Gi-Oh matchup. Drytron, Dino, Eldritch, even Eldritch, banishing that Golden Lord is important. Not only that, since players are starting to play a lot more hand traps and we don't have Crossout Designator, Called by the Grave is that simple one of that's just really versatile, being able to stop your opponent's graveyard cards, as well as being a card that you can use offensively to disrupt your opponent's strategy. Compulsory Evacuation Device was a card that was really good once upon a time. Right now I'm going to put it in the situational. Sometimes bouncing cards from the field to the hand isn't necessarily a good thing, and while Book of Moon does have that same versatility as Compulsory Evacuation Device doesn't always seem to be the card that you want to use. Cosmic Cyclone is one of those cards that I better be caught with it. Seriously, back row disruption inside of a back row heavy format is something that you should probably consider. If you're not playing Cosmic Cyclone in your main deck, you should strongly consider playing some form of back row disruption in your side deck. Cosmic Cyclone is really good because it banishes the card that it is destroying. It's not destroying. Might have to pray to the Cosmics to figure this one out. Crackdown, I feel, is a situational Yu-Gi-Oh card. Now, my Patreons might be mad at me because I did have a list where Crackdown was a, oh no, what is you doing, baby? But this card actually is not that bad. The reason why I like Crackdown is that it does snatch your opponent's monster. That is really good in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Snatch your opponent's True King of all calamities and then link off with it. The only problem with this is that it loses the cards like Zeus, Dryden, and of course it doesn't stop calamities from activating its effect. Dark Hole is an, oh my god, this is actually a really underrated Yu-Gi-Oh card. Dark Hole's effect is really simple: destroy all monsters on the field. And that is pretty huge in a format where players don't slam down a whole bunch of negates. This card can literally wipe a board. Evenly Matched is, look, if this card isn't underrated, it's in the better be caught with it. Evenly Matched is really, really good right now. I actually think I can say that Evenly Matched is an underrated Yu-Gi-Oh card, mainly because people aren't playing Evenly Matched. Why are you not playing cards like Evenly Matched right now? Think about it, guys. We just made a tech video where Exiton Knight is on it. Exiton destroys all cards on the field. Divine Arsenal AA Zeus is a very powerful card. It sends all cards on the field to the graveyard. Evenly Matched gets rid of so many situations. It's like, it's the same thing in trap form. Forbidden Chalice is a card that is very, very situational right now. I love that Forbidden Chalice can respond to the cards that we just talked about with Evil Swarm Nightmare and Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. I also like that Forbidden Chalice can negate cards like Vanity's Ruler, but unfortunately that's kind of where Chalice's usefulness stops. Virtual World players will just use Chu-Chi to destroy their calamities, meaning that you can't use your card effects. Chalice doesn't necessarily solve the problem, but at least it gets over the calamities for next turn, if there is a next turn. Personally, Forbidden Chalice is one of my favorite cards, and if I have to drink the Kool-Aid about it being a situational card, then here we are. Chalice is situational. Forbidden Droplets, on the other hand, is a card that is creeping up there. I can honestly say that this is a card that if you can afford, you better have it in some type of deck. But to be honest with you, I might have to actually even drop it down to really, really good. Now, the reason behind that is because Forbidden Chalice can help you break boards like against Drytron, breaking their Vanity Rulers, Virtual World. It can also stop True King of all calamities if you send a trap in a monster. The problem with Forbidden Droplets is that you have to send cards from your hand and field to the graveyard. As we already know, in Yu-Gi-Oh, that's not always a possibility dependent on the deck that you play. If you play a deck that can't really send cards from the field and hand to the graveyard to be able to negate your opponent's board, probably find a different card to play. And that's where Droplets moves from the better be caught with it to the really, really good category. Harpy's Feather Duster, though, is not a nah, I'm just playing with you. Harpy's Feather Duster is a card that you better be caught with it. Seriously, if Cosmic Cyclone is here, Harpy's Feather Duster is here. Harpy's Feather Duster literally should be the first form of macro, what is that? Harpy's Feather Duster should be the first form of back row removal that you should be looking into your main board or sideboard respectively. About a couple of weeks ago, you could say Ice Dragon's Prison was a card that you better be caught with it. Fortunately for budget players, Ice Dragon Prison is just a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card. I've been saying this for quite some time now, but Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is not really that good, and that's one of the reasons why we played it. And then decks are starting to be able to actively play around this card really well. Imperial Order right now is, oh no, what you doing, baby? No, I gotta take that back. Imperial Order is situational, guys. Imperial Order does stop vital spell cards from being activated. If you're playing against like the Drytron matchup and you activate Imperial Order in your beginning game, you're pretty much set. But other than that, Imperial Order can struggle against decks like Virtual World, who has easy access to destroying it, and players that can just make a Zodiac Trident or Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Imperial Order will fall fairly fast. Infinite Impermanence is a card that is, oh no, what are you doing, baby? We finally have our first one. I'm very excited. I've been wanting to say that for a while, as you guys can see. I don't want to say that Infinite Impermanence is a trash Yu-Gi-Oh card, but Infinite Impermanence is not good right now. Infinite Impermanence is not an amazing card right now because of two reasons. Trytron, Virtual World. Those two strategies basically play around Infinite Impermanence with ease, as well as decks like Dino being able to prevent you from using Infinite Impermanence is just not worth playing right now. Lightning Storm is a card that is completely underrated. Now, it's starting to feel like this is a sideboard tier list, and I actually just so happen to have made a sideboard tier list for the players that want to see that. That's actually something else we might have to update in the near future. But Lightning Storm is really good against those back row heavy decks and can get rid of those boards the same way Dark Hole can. Mind Control is also another one of those cards that are genuinely underrated in the right deck. So I might just have to move it down to really, really good. Being able to snatch your opponent's most precious card and use it against them, or being able to force that disruption that they weren't trying to do, Mind Control is pretty good at it. Monster Reborn is ironically not a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card. Way back in the day, Monster Reborn was a must-play Yu-Gi-Oh card in every single deck. Monster Reborn is nowhere near that anymore. I mean, to be honest with you guys, Monster Reborn is an amazing extender card, but this isn't an extender tier list. I mean, I kind of want to make that too. I gotta stop with these tier lists. Mystical Space Typhoon is really good when you don't want to banish certain cards on the field, or if you're playing a deck like Sky Striker and want to have the access to be able to destroy your own Sky Striker Airspace Area 0, that's where Mystical Space Typhoon can really shine. Paleozoic Dynamiscus is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card, and players love this card because you have to discard a card, but only after Dynamiscus resolves. It also allows you to banish any card on the field, so it's a little bit better than Cosmic Cyclone. The only problem is that it's a trap card. If this was a spell card, we wouldn't even be talking about Cosmic. Pot of Desires is actually another one of those cards that is not a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card. What? While I do feel like Pot of Desires is an amazing Yu-Gi-Oh card, it does require a lot of deck building around, which means it's not generic, it's actually rather specific. One thing I do desire for is Raigeki to see a lot more play, because this card's actually pretty underrated. I mean, what did you expect? I had Dark Hole here, I had Lightning Storm here, I've Evenly Matched here. Mass forms of disruption or removal are really underrated right now. My boy Solemn Judgment is a situational trap card. Solemn Judgment is not amazing right now because its sole use is to stop cards like Harpy's Feather Duster, Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm, and stuff like that. Back in the day, Solemn Judgment was used to stop your opponent's important junctures, but nowadays, the opponent doesn't have an important juncture. They just keep on summoning monsters. Solemn Strike is it really feels like Solemn Strike should be in the better be caught with it, but I'm gonna strike it down to a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card. The reason why I Solemn striked it down, is it strike or struck? The reason why I Solemn struck it down to really good is that not every deck needs a Solemn Strike. Granted, almost every Yu-Gi-Oh deck can play Solemn Strike and negate your opponent's pivotal monster effect or a hand trap. Solemn Strike is not designated for every Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. Solemn Warning is literally an, oh no, what are you doing, baby? Why would you even play this card right now? Now granted, Solemn Warning could stop a card like Monster Reborn, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to stop cards like True King of All Calamities, Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, the effect of Herald of Ultimateness. This card stops all of those with 500 less life points. It can also stop hand traps, so yeah, infinitely better. Super Polymerization is that situational Yu-Gi-Oh card. The reason that keeps Super Polymerization from here to here is the actual fusion monsters that can be used to summon with Super Polymerization. Let's say, for example, there was a really powerful fusion monster that said 2 monsters. Super Polymerization would be ban-worthy. But seeing that our targets normally revolve around Starving Venom Dragon and that Swamp card, Super Polymerization is pretty tame. Torrential Tribute is also another one of those really good cards. It would be underrated if people did not know about it. It's a massive board wipe on your opponent's turn. I feel like people do be sleeping on Torrential Tribute though. Triple Tactics Talent is it can actually go into the really good category. Now, while hand traps are at an all-time high, Triple Tactics Talent doesn't necessarily fix the situation that you're in. In a combo-based format, Triple Tactics Talent goes into the better be caught with it, because drawing 2 cards, or since if you already have your combo, ripping a card or another hand trap out of your opponent's hand would be amazing. But since we're in a slower control format, it's just a really good card, allowing you to draw 2 cards, steal your opponent's monster, which, I mean, mind control, or allowing you to look at your opponent's hand. Triple Tactics Talent is just a really good spell card. Of course, Twin Twisters is going to be in that underrated category. It's similar to Cosmic Cyclone, one of those better be caught with it. You could put it in between both of those, but I'm going to put it right here just because not a lot of players are playing it. And then Upstart Goblin is a situational Yu-Gi-Oh card. Unfortunately, it's not a card that you better be caught with it, even though it makes your deck 39 cards. But nowadays, players are starting to realize that, hey, I probably should play more than 39 cards. There are ways to play 42, 50, or even 60 Yu-Gi-Oh cards inside of your deck and not miss a beat. So the whole making your deck 39 cards doesn't necessarily mean as much as it used to in the past. Still though, Upstart Goblin could still be going into those decks that want to make 39 cards. Well, that is all that I have for the Staples tier list. Unfortunately, I didn't make a Staples tier list for the staples that you put in your stapler, but I feel like you'll get over it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give this video a like, but also be sure to check out these other videos. They are really awesome. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and of course, I know I will catch you on the next video.